After 2 solid episodes that did a great job regarding exposition work, introducing the main setup of the series, will episode 3 ignite the screen or will it continue building up the mythology? Hi there, it's Micha. Come in and find out my thoughts on it. Episode 3, titled The Friendly Type, starts with Layla getting fake papers to enter Egypt, where Marc is already in pursuit of a gang to find a lead on Harrow's whereabouts, who apparently already discovered the location of Ahmed's tomb. While Marc uses a lot of violence in his pursuit of an answer, often Steven's personality takes over to prevent the worst. As Marc comes back into control though, having just killed some gang members apparently, it seems like there is a third personality in the mix as well, one they both are not familiar with. Right after this, Marc's listening to Khonshu leads him to misjudging a situation in which a young boy under Harrow's influence rather kills himself than give up the cult leader's location. Out of other options, they plan to appeal to the other gods, in the hope they would stop Ahmed's breakout, though summoning them may come with certain risks. To send them a signal they can't ignore, Khonshu creates a solar eclipse. Even though the gods are scattered around the world, a summoning opens a portal for their avatars to meet in one place, to Steven's joy inside the Great Pyramid of Giza. This place seems to be the only place where the gods themselves can inhabit their avatars, which they do for the proceedings. The gods reiterate that their avatars are only here on Earth to observe, not to interfere anymore. Sharing that Harrow plans to release Ahmed leads to him being summoned. Harrow revealing the fact that Khonshu misuses a man with shattered personalities as his avatar provokes the god into attacking him, thereby managing to discredit him enough so that no one believes the accusation. However, the avatar of Hathor, the goddess of love and music, who indicates to have had history with Khonshu in the past, lets Marc know that aside from the Scarabaeus, also a man named Sanfu was once tasked to record the tomb's location, which is hidden in a sarcophagus that is currently available on the black market. Fortunately, this is when Marc's wife Layla finds him in Cairo, as she knows Mogart, the antiquity collector who is in possession of the item. There, while they are looking at the casket, Harrow turns up, willing to trade the scarab for it. After telling Layla that Marc kept something about her father's murder from her, Harrow uses Ahmed's power to destroy the ancient coffin. At that point, Marc summons the suit and an all-out fight ensues, as a distraction for Layla to pick up some of the sarcophagus's leftover pieces. In the desert, Steven assembles those into a map in form of a 5-pointed stars with celestial constellations on it, though they are not helpful today as Marc positions have drifted over the millennia. So Khonshu, with help from Steven in his Mr. Night persona, turns back the night sky to that date 2000 years ago. With the whole world witnessing this, the gods have no other option as to imprison Khonshu in stone, but not before Layla was able to locate the position of the tomb, and before Khonshu was telling Steven to let Marc know to come for him, to free him again. With episode 3, the exposition work seems to be over and we are diving more into the actual story as it develops. Very early on in this chapter, it is implied that there is at least a third personality, which is pure violence. And looking back, it is likely not the first time we have witnessed their aftermath. In the first episode, Steven's blackouts always showed him with bloody hands and dead bodies around him, so that was likely not Marc, but also that other one. Something that my sister Angie also called out. Could that be Khonshu himself, being able to take over too? As his former avatar, Harrow more than once mentioned that Khonshu broke him, so maybe the dissociative identity disorder was not a pre-existing condition, but created by Khonshu's violation of Marc's psyche that way. That Khonshu isn't the nicest of deities becomes very obvious after the young boy killed himself, plummeting to his death, with the god very nonchalantly calling out, "That turned out different than I expected," before continuing as if nothing ever happened. It is also telling that he is the only god who didn't manage to speak in a normal cadence when using his avatar. Constantly screaming, it was tough for the other deities to take him seriously. There are some small issues on this episode which irritated me a bit. For once, why did Harrow destroy the sarcophagus? if the map seems to be more precise than the location provided by the Scarab. Could have spared him a lot of digging. But when going for destruction, why leave so many pieces? Why not completely destroying it so that Layla and Marc couldn't recover the map from the remains? Didn't really make sense. Same goes for Marc ignoring Khonshu and waiting until the casket is broken before summoning the suit. What really didn't sit right with me though is that he is turning into the Moon Knight and attacking Moggart's security, hurting them and killing them left and right, while leaving Harrow and his men just go. Sure, they needed the map pieces, but killing the guards of a collector who just are doing their job, reacting to an attack? Really? Even Layla shoots to kill. This really rubbed me the wrong way, so that I couldn't even enjoy the funniest scene of the week and my sister's favorite moment, when in all the carnage, Steven tries to de-escalate by taking over as Mr. Knight, but immediately gets stabbed by multiple javelins. Saying, "Take the body, Marc," he called on Moon Knight to return straight away. Another thing that always bothers me in stories like this, why didn't they just photograph the pieces and print them, creating their map that way instead of cutting up the original parts? As the daughter of an archaeologist, wouldn't you rather go for preserving artifacts? But as in the Indiana Jones movies, all that is found usually gets destroyed along the way. And back then, they at least had the excuse that photocopies weren't really a thing yet, I think. FYI, though the fate of Anton Moggart, the collector, is not revealed, he was hit by one of Moon Knight's half-crest throwing blades, but rode away, real life answered the question, as he was played by Gaspard Ulliel, the French actor who unfortunately passed away recently due to a skiing accident. Now, before we get to the rating, let me remind you to like and share this video if you enjoyed it so far. And if you are no subscriber yet, maybe consider to change that. By also hitting the notification bell, you will get a heads up for most of my new videos. Now for the rating. Though this episode was more story orientated and I overall enjoyed it, I feel like it didn't reach the same level as the previous two, rating wise. I guess this is mostly because of the main fight at the end, as I described a moment ago. This might be just an issue I had, and most likely will not bother many viewers, as my sister, after rating episode 1 and 2 exactly like I did, rated this episode with 9 out of 10 points, maybe even 9.5. Don't get me wrong, there were a lot of enjoyable moments, like multiple changes of Oscar Isaac's portrayed personalities, where he always performed the switch spot on, changing body language, facial expressions, voice and accent effortlessly. Scenes Angie also loved a lot. I especially liked that we saw most of the episode through Marc's eyes, coming to after Steven, or this third persona, took over, mirroring the storytelling we saw in episode 1 and 2 through Steven's eyes. Somehow I expected a bit more this week though, also feeling a bit underwhelmed by the summoning of the gods, who all were just shown via their avatars. Maybe we see them later in their true form, but I doubt it. Before it sounds too bad, I repeat that I overall enjoyed it as well. Something was missing for me, or was a bit off besides the issues I mentioned, though I can't exactly put my finger on it. It is still a more than solid 7.5 out of 10 points for me, and with the story now in full motion, I am sure the next chapters will be scored higher again. I have no rating from Neil on this episode as well. Like with episode 2, if I hear from him, I will add it to the video's description. How did you like this third chapter of the Moon Knight? Do you agree with my rating, or is Angie's rating more aligned with you? Let me know in the comments. So much for now, see you next time and thanks for watching!